The untouchable True School Sports Empire proudly presents something the boxing games are missing. Hey, what's going on? It's your boy BT, and I came here to talk some boxing with the thousands of True School Sports subscribers. Now, shout out to everyone out there. Hope everyone's doing great. It's currently 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time here in South Florida, so I figured we start this week off just right with a nice live to talk about the card on Saturday. And it won't be a long live. It won't be a long live, but yeah, just come here, talk about the top ranked card, talk about Janibek a little bit, talk about Seniesa Estrada, and then start the week off right. Get this shit off on the right foot. But before I get into the live, let me just first start off by saying I made the video last night around this time. Let me say it again. My prayers go out to Janibek Alimkhanuly, who is in the hospital. He took a pretty severe beating from Dave Morrell Jr. So, I want Ados to pull through because this sport is serious, and you never want to see a fighter become a casualty of the sport. You want to see the fighter get back to his family and his friends and enjoying life and back to training and all that good stuff. So hopefully he pulls through, and us as boxing fans can live with the reminder that these guys are putting their lives on the line, and that we should respect anybody, no matter who they are and where they come from. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But we got a great show planned for today. Shout out to all four of you here. Make sure you smash that like button. Definitely subscribe if you're new to the channel. And if you're watching the playback, smash that like button as well. Now, we got our first comment comes from my main man, Ghost. He says, when you barely pay opponents, this is what happens. I'm sorry, but no top five will take a fight for $100,000, $150,000. I know dudes with multiple L's making that range of money. Johnny Rice makes $150K on a bad night. And that's a good comment there from Ghost. Yeah, I think if Top Rank is truly serious about wanting to build Janibek into a star and somebody that boxing fans can get behind and get excited about in big-time fights, he's going to have to get to a place where he's actually going to have to overpay some opponents in the top 10, in the top 5. He may have to pay, $300,000 or $500,000 above market value so that these guys can get in the ring and fight Janibek, because even with the belt, he's not a big name. He doesn't, you don't get a big purse from fighting him. You're really only fighting Janibek, honestly, for the opportunity to become a world champion your damn self. So I agree with that. And I think Top Rank's willingness, Bob Arum's willingness, Brad Goodman, the whole staff's willingness to actually go ahead and pay fighters, their actual, above market value for opponents for Janibek, that's good. That to me will determine how serious they are about wanting to build this man into a star. Because it's very easy to go to guys in the top 5 and the top 10 and say, hey, we want you to fight for $80,000, and then they don't want to fight, and then you say they tend to fight down, they duck the fight. Well, of course they duck the fight. You didn't give them a fair offer for a fight at that of that level and that magnitude. You know what I'm saying? So Denzel Bentley, shout out to him. Denzel Bentley has stepped up to fight Janibek, and he's a pretty massive and sizable underdog this weekend. We got my man Egalitarian. He says Demetrius Andrade should fight Dave Benavidez. Dave Benavidez is tied up with Caleb Plant, but yeah, I agree. At some point, I would love to see Demetrius Andrade fight Dave Benavidez. But Dave Benavidez seems like he's tied up with Caleb Plant at the moment, so that's not happening, unfortunately. But I want to stay on topic. I've done enough lives and videos about Andrade and Benavidez and those guys. I'm not talking about them right now. I'm talking about the card this weekend between Janibek and Denzel Bentley. Now, let's go to screen share. Shout out to everybody here. Let's go to screen share, because I was having a look at the odds, right? I don't know if you guys can see the odds on the screen, but right here, hold on, right here, the bottom right here, where my mouse is, you have the odds for the co-main and main event. So we'll start with the main event. Janibek and Denzel Bentley. You can see right here what the different betting lines are for Janibek and Denzel Bentley, and it kind of gives you some insight into how much of a mismatch this is for a world championship fight. Now, Janibek is a minus 2,400. Denzel Bentley's a plus 1,120, which means, of course, for those of you who don't know about betting, if you bet $100 on Denzel Bentley and he somehow pulls off the win and does the upset, you will get $1,120 back. If you bet on FanDuel. On DraftKings, it's plus 1,000. So we're getting like plus 1,000s, plus 1,120s for Denzel Bentley, and that lets you know that he's a sizable underdog. And with all respect and all, just all respect and all courteousness to Mr. Bentley, he is at that level. He has those odds against him for a specific reason. Because anybody who's watched Denzel Bentley in his career and the progression of his career knows that it's very questionable if he's even a world-level fighter. I don't think he is a world-level fighter. He is barely, and I would say barely, an elite-level British fighter. This is not me putting him down. This is me being somebody that has watched his career and seen the progression of his career. Let's have a quick look at the box rec, at his CV, at his resume, Now, Denzel Bentley has been a British champion. He has won the British title before at middleweight, so he's got to that level. But look at how he's gotten there. He fought Mark Heffron in 2020. I remember this fight. It was very close. It was very nip and tuck. He had a draw. He had to give Heffron a rematch, and he clearly showed he was better than Heffron in the rematch and stopped him in 4 rounds. Then, after he showed he was better than Heffron, he got a step up in class against another guy who is at best a fringe world level guy, Felix Cash. And when he fought that fringe world level guy in Felix Cash, he got absolutely starched in 3 rounds. And I was very disappointed in Denzel Bentley in that fight. I didn't think he would win, but I was very disappointed with his performance. Since then, he's fought your guys like Marcus Morrison, another British level fighter, Linus Udofia, another British level fighter. I'm familiar with these guys. So he's barely, and when I say barely, I mean barely, an elite level British fighter. And somehow he's getting a world title shot at Janibek. So, hey, I respect him for taking the fight. He's shown more courage than a lot of guys to take the fight. I wish him nothing but the best because, every fighter has their own journey in this sport. And every fighter has, their path that should be respected by all of us. No matter how good or bad we think a fighter may be, we should all respect their path in their journey in the sport because it takes a lot for a man or woman to say, hey, I want to pursue a career in professional boxing and try to fight at the highest levels. You're fighting every time you fight, you're fighting with your reputation on the line. Not many fighters will do that. So it's going to be a tough fight for him because he's a guy that, he doesn't have a ton of amateur experience when you compare it to what Janibek has in his career. And Janibek, let's face it, Janibek's fought better competition than Denzel Bentley. He's fought, Rob Brandt. He's fought Hassan Mandam, Vaughn Alexander. I mean, he's fought guys that I think are more of a threat, stylistically speaking and experience-wise, than Denzel Bentley. So I really don't know what to say more than this fight is an extreme mismatch. It really is. It's very hard for me to name fights. I don't remember too many fights at the World Championship level that were as big of a mismatch as this. Now, if Denzel Bentley goes in there and really gives him a good competitive fight, then I'm gonna have to really come out here and change my tune because then I have to really say, hey, Denzel Bentley was much better than we thought he was, and we judged him too much by his resume. But the resume is there to be judged, and not just the resume. I've actually watched him fight, so I know what kind of skills he's bringing to the ring. I know some of his tendencies, and I just feel like Janibek's going to be able to exploit them and beat him pretty soundly. And if this man wins the world title, then this is going to be great. This will be great for British boxing. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man. Just so you guys, just again, if you're just tuning in, shout out to all 13 of you here. I see you, Hey Susam. I see you, Zan's Heavy Boxing. I see you guys in the comments. If you're just tuning in, just to give you guys how much of a mismatch this fight is in the eyes of the bookies, the odds makers, All those things. Denzel Bentley is a plus 1,120. He's plus 1,000 on three of the betting sites. Plus 1,000 or more on three of the betting sites. So if you think that Denzel Bentley has a chance to win this fight and you want to make some money, I mean, I wouldn't advise that you bet on him because I don't think he's gonna win. But just so you guys know, I'm not here to give betting advice. I'm just showing you guys the odds to really give you guys some clarity as to like how much of a mismatch this is. And that's what it is. But we're here. It's your boy BT. Shout out to everyone here. Make sure you smash that like button. Let me see. Egalitarian says, he says right here, he says, Janibek needs to fight Carlos Gongora next after defeating Denzel Bentley. I would love that fight. Carlos Gongora is a warrior. Carlos Gongora goes in there and lays it out on the line every single time he steps into a boxing ring. I would love that fight. I know Lou DiBella promotes him. I know Lou DiBella's been like kind of shooting off at the mouth for Carlos Gongora to get a crack at Dave Benavidez. And I was okay with him fighting Dave Benavidez till the Plant fight got made. But yeah, I mean, make that fight happen. If Janibek does what he's supposed to do and beats Denzel Bentley and makes the first successful defense of his newly received, because I don't want to say he didn't earn the belt on the ring. He received it because Demetrius Andrade vacated. So, yeah, that'd be a really good fight. Enrique Luna, what's good, Enrique? Shout out to you, champ. He says, looking forward Saturday. Suavecita, Mambacita, Seniesa Estrada, and Emilio Vargas on the undercard. El General make their top-ranked debuts. Let's go. Should be a lot of fun. Obviously, I absolutely love Seniesa Estrada in and out the ring. She's great. She's a great fighter. I'm happy that she's getting a chance to fight. I'll get into her more later, but yeah, she's fighting a straight can as well, as you would expect. Because it's a top-ranked debut, and Top Rank is going to put her in there with anybody that's going to be a threat to beat her right away. They want to build her up and kind of start to build some of that momentum that was lost from not fighting for a whole year due to what happened with her and Oscar and whatnot. So, yeah. My man Zayn's heavy boxing dose says, bro, do you reckon that this is a mismatch? I do. I think Denzel Bentley he can box, obviously. He's a solid pro. I don't think he punches hard enough to get Janibek's respect. I think Janibek slightly more explosive, slightly quicker than him hand speed wise. He's more explosive than him, so he can't really like exchange with him. If this fight goes more than 7 rounds, I'll be shocked, to be honest with you. I really see this fight being very similar to maybe not like exactly like the Danny Dignam fight, but maybe like just a step above that. Janibek's gonna put a beating on Denzel Bentley. But hey, if Denzel Bentley sees this or anybody in this team sees this, I'm not trying to disrespect. Much luck to you. I like a good underdog story. So obviously, if he goes in there and he wins, I'm gonna have to come out here and really put massive amounts of respect on his name because he will really have earned it and really have deserved it. You know what I'm saying? So yes, sir. Hey, Susan, what's good, champ? Saludos, BT. Janibek is ducking GGG. I think he probably is ducking. Yeah, like he's saying the whole thing about, like, I don't want to fight him because he's my elder, and I don't want to fight him because, I have respect for my elders. That's corny. If we're gonna get on Canelo for saying that he won't fight other Mexicans because he represents Mexico, then we got to get on Janibek the same way. It's disgraceful. Either he needs to drop the belt, or I think he should drop the belt. Either Golovkin should drop the belt or Janibek should drop the belt if they're not trying to unify, because it's not fair for the rest of the division that the two Kazakhs won't fight each other just out of some sort of moral principle that they have supposedly. Or we could just say Janibek got exposed by an unknown fighter. You can honestly look, if Janibek loses to Denzel Bentley, Janibek exposed by Bentley. Yes, because he's a heavy favorite. Denzel Bentley has barely proven himself at the British level. He's barely solidified himself at the British level of being an elite fighter. He had to go through hell just to do that. So when we're comparing him to a world level fighter like Janibek, you gotta say he's exposed if he loses to him. Ray Earl says, "What's up, BT? What's good, Ray? Happy Monday to you. Hope all is well with you and all the fine folks in the chat. We're getting this week started off right. Talking that boxing. How do you see the styles of Janibek matching up versus his opponent? That's a good question. It's a southpaw versus orthodox matchup, so obviously, probably more so when you have a southpaw versus orthodox matchup. It's all about positioning, and the positioning and who wins that battle will be whoever wins the battle of positioning will be able to be in position to throw their jab a lot better and from a more educated, more sound place. I think Janibek is the better technical fighter. He punches harder. I even think he's a little quicker, hand speed wise. Denzel Bentley is gonna have to really pull out all the tricks for this fight. You know, he's been boxing for quite some time now. He's highly touted by a lot of people I know in the UK. I know people that I know in British boxing. Before he lost to Felix Cash, they were telling me that Denzel Bentley is the next this and the next that. Much like Chris Congo, Denzel Bentley. These two guys were names 2 years ago that from my British, people that I know, they were just talking about them all the time like they were going to be champions. So we'll see what it is. Michael Manning, what's good, champ? No, it's all good. I'm just happy to see you in the chat. Good to see you, man. Hope all is well. He said, Munguia don't want that smoke. Munguia don't want smoke from anybody, so that's not really anything we should harp on too much. We know Munguia don't want to fight nobody. We know Munguia wants to wait until one of the belts become vacant so he could fight an easier opponent. We know how Golden Boy is moving Munguia. We know how Golden Boy and Xander for Promotions is moving Munguia. So there's no need to really get bent out of shape and get pissed off about it. BT, do the H Money impression. Janibek is ducking GGG. What's going on? It's your boy H Money, Mr. DAZN. We in the building. Let's get it. Janibek is ducking GGG. Yes, sir. I don't know why Janibek ain't licking his chops after GGG's last fight. Because I don't know what's up with him, but he's saying it's this whole culture thing. We respect our elders. We don't want to fight old people. All this bullshit. I don't want to hear it. It's bullshit. Let me see. Bradley Scott, what's good, champ? He says it should be okay. If fighters can't get the fights they want, fighters have to fight these fights to stay active. It's really no different than Crawford. No, it is different than Crawford because, oh my God, I hate that you brought him up because now I got to talk about Diva number one. Crawford could have fought Jaron Ennis if he really wanted that fight. I believe, or at least he could have showed some ambition to get the fight. And then maybe Ennis couldn't fight him because of the Showtime deal. But I'm just saying, I don't believe Crawford showed any ambition to fight Jaron Ennis or Virgil Ortiz or any of them guys. Truth be told, that's why he's fighting. How do you? I don't want to talk about him too much, but all I'm saying is it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Janibek's in one of the worst weight classes in boxing. Terrence Crawford's in one of the better weight classes in boxing with big names and great fights to be made, even outside the champion. So it is different, but I get your point. I get where you're coming from. When do the WBC strip Charlo? I have no clue. Your guess is as good as mine. Hopefully soon. I hope it will be soon because Charlo is basically semi-retired at this point, and it's getting extremely, extremely disgraceful. What about Janibek versus Chris Eubank? I would love that fight. I think that's a great fight. I think that would be one of the fights that we would need to see in the middleweight division. I mean, if we can't get the unification fights, then boom, there you go. My man Dave S says, I don't think Virgil Ortiz wants to fight Carver, to be honest. I'm willing to give the benefit of the doubt to Bud on that. Well, hey, you're better than me. I'm not. I don't, because I think Virgil Ortiz would fight Terrence Crawford if given the opportunity. That's what I believe. But that's just me. See, shout out to everyone here, man. So yeah, this fight's a whatever fight. It's a clear mismatch. I'll be live for it. Because I like Janibek and I want to see how he looks and I want to see if maybe Denzel Bentley can make it interesting. But it should be a Janibek knockout within the first 7 rounds or something like that. So yeah, that's what it is there. But kind of pivoting into like the other things going on that card, we also have the return of Seniesa Estrada, who is one of the top 5 pound-for-pound fighters in women's boxing. But the thing is, for all the great things that have happened in women's boxing, she's kind of been on the sideline all year. So she's now getting her first fight in almost a year. And she's fighting a girl that is a plus. So it's crazy. The girl Seniesa Estrada is fighting. I want to show you guys, actually. Look at this shit. So the girl that Seniesa Estrada is fighting, if you look at the odds right here, she's fighting a girl named Jasmine Gala Villarreal, okay? And this girl, Jasmine Gala, or whatever her name is, she is actually a bigger underdog in her fight than Denzel Bentley is with Janibek. She's a plus 1,400. A plus 1,400. She's damn near plus 300 higher than Denzel Bentley. So, I mean, look, man, I'm not trying to be the miserable, complaining boxing fan, but I'm just here to talk boxing, and I'm here to really highlight what's going on this weekend. This is one of the most mismatched cards Top Rank and boxing has seen in a long, long time. I'm not trying to criticize Seniesa. I know Seniesa personally. I've known her for years. She's obsessed with greatness and being the best. I'm sure she didn't pick this opponent. I'm sure if she had it her way, she'd fight Kim Clavel next and unify the division. I'm sure she would fight Marlena Esparza or whoever if she had it her way. But, Top Rank is trying to build her into the next star of women's boxing, or build off the momentum that Golden Boy and Oscar already have going. And they're not going to put her in there with anybody that's going to have any sort of chance to beat her. So they want to get her a knockout, get her a sensational win, drum up some hype, and probably sometime next year allow her to headline a card in California, in LA, because that was one of the reasons they signed her. One of the reasons Top Rank signed Seniesa, according to Seniesa, was that she sells tickets in LA. And I know this from going to Seniesa Estrada fights in LA. She sells tickets, and she probably sells tickets better than a lot of men's fighters. So that's what it is. But yeah, just wanted to highlight that. I wanted to highlight that Seniesa Estrada is a bigger favorite in her fight than Janibek is against Denzel Bentley, which is kind of crazy, Michael Manning says, "I love that wallpaper, champ." You talking about the Roma Gonzalez wallpaper? David says, BT, do you think the World Cup has affected some of the big fights they're trying to make in November and December? I don't remember any big fight during the World Cup. Absolutely. There's no two ways about it. How could you say that the World Cup isn't affecting big fights in boxing? People who don't watch soccer or world football, as they say, they may not quite understand the full significance of the World Cup, but I definitely understand it. And every sport that's going on, whether it be hockey, basketball, whatever, is going to have their ratings negatively impacted by the World Cup going on, because this is a global event. This takes place once every 4 years. This is pretty much like the Olympics on steroids for soccer. So it's a pretty big deal, and everything will take a backseat. So yeah, it's probably best that Crawford and Spence didn't happen in November, because if Crawford and Spence would have happened in November, I think it would have suffered greatly because of the World Cup. Because even boxing, like even me, I have a whole channel dedicated to boxing. I love boxing, but I'm gonna tell you this: when that World Cup starts, I'm gonna be tuned in, and I'm gonna be watching the USA, and I'm gonna be watching some of the other games as well. So, 100%, the World Cup definitely affected by all the back end of boxing this year. That's probably why I would say that that's one of the reasons why I would say that this year, like the fourth quarter of this year, out of all the years I've been covering boxing on YouTube, I think because of the bad negotiations from all fighters and parties involved in the big fights like Crawford, Spence, Garcia, Tank, Fury, Usyk, that along with the World Cup, I really think has kind of like made boxing at big time boxing, at least, it's made it really, really not enjoyable for a lot of the boxing fans, So it is what it is. Jesus M says, BT, Antonio Mieres 6'9", 280 pounds, undefeated fighter. Do you think he's a good test? I haven't really, I've watched him fight a couple of times. Antonio Miedlis, big guy. Can't say I pay the most attention to him, so I don't want to be disingenuous with you, so I can't really answer that. Yeah, Costa Vale, she's kind of replaced Seniesa Estrada, or at least they're trying to replace Seniesa Estrada at Golden Boy with her. That's the sexiest fight in boxing. Literally, the sexiest fight in boxing, along with Alicia Baumgartner and Michaela Maris, the sexiest fight in boxing. But that would be a great unification fight. I know Costa Vale has been getting great sparring in America, and she thinks she could beat Seniesa Estrada. So I would love to see that fight at some point. But I think after this fight, after Seniesa gets to this fight, because she's going to beat this girl easily. After she gets to this fight, I think Top Rank doesn't need to waste any time. If Kim Clavel, who's the WBC champion at 108, probably the most technically sound boxer around those weights that could probably outbox Seniesa, that's the fight they got to make. That's probably the most competitive fight they can make in and around those weights for Seniesa Estrada. You know what I'm saying? And it'd be a really good fight. So, yeah, I think 2023 is going to be a banner year for her after what was a very, very bad 2022 due to what happened with Golden Boy Promotions. You know, also, guys, on the undercard, we got it's the second pro fight and the Top-ranked debut of Emiliano Vargas. Now, I'm going to tell you guys this. I've been hearing all these sparring stories about Emiliano Vargas because, as you guys know, I know quite a few people in Las Vegas who go to different gyms, and they've seen this kid spar a lot. And I'm always hearing that Emiliano Vargas spar, top world champions and guys that are big names in boxing right now, and he was putting it on them. Showing great defense, great speed, and a lot of people whose opinions I respect on boxing, they swear up and down and they say that this kid Emiliano Vargas is the future of the sport. He is going to be the next Mexican-American star. He is going to be a star along the lines of Oscar De La Hoya type of figure in boxing. So that's kind of like a big expectation to place on the kid. But from what I've seen and from what I've heard and from what I've researched, I think he does got a big future, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on the card as well. So is it a great card? Will this card be one to remember for the books? Probably not. But those are my thoughts on Janibek versus Denzel Bentley, Seniesa Estrada, and her fight in her return fight, Emiliano Vargas on the card as well. So yeah. So let's answer some comments. This isn't going to be a long live today, so I'll probably be getting off here about the next 10 to 15 minutes. So get your questions in. I just wanted to come on here and pop my shit real quickly about Janibek versus Denzel Bentley and all that stuff. David Esther says, I've been watching Israel Majimov's highlights, and your boy Glazer said he's kind of a one-trick pony. Go watch his highlights and see how he glides and slides. I've watched him fight. I don't need to watch his highlights. I watched his fights against Eric Walker. I watched his fights against Michael Soro. Watched a lot of his fights. He's not a one-trick pony. He moves around pretty well. He's pretty smooth with his footwork. He's a good fighter. I like Israel Majimov a lot. I just wish that he would get some fights so that more people can know who he is and he can, obviously get his chance at glory. Every fighter deserves it. Every fighter who gets into them rankings and is able to stay there for a long time deserves their chance at glory. Majimov would have been a better fight for Bud than David Easy Avenue. You think so? I mean, look, I don't want to talk too much about that fight because I don't want to talk too much about those two guys. Honestly, them guys, both of them frustrated me. I'm just here to talk about what is happening in boxing, not what's not happening. But a lot of you guys keep saying David Avenetian is this trash fighter. I don't think he's as bad as people say he is. I think Crawford's not careful. I mean, Crawford should stop him because Crawford is Crawford. Crawford's a great fighter, but he's not as bad as some of the other guys on cards to me. I'll just put it like that. Oh yeah, I've heard Emiliano is the best out of the brothers. He definitely is. It's not even close. Like, shout out to Amato and shout out to Emiliano Vargas Jr. or Fernando Vargas Jr. But Emiliano Vargas is hands down the best. Out of all of them. Super speed, great defense, reflexes. I mean, here, in fact, look, let's do this because I had this clip up that I wanted to show you guys. So I actually found this when I was researching what to talk about today for the live. I found this clip. So Steve Kim posted this on his Twitter, and this is a clip of Emiliano Vargas sparring Jorge Linares. So let's watch this sparring. Right right here in the blue headgear, this is Emiliano Vargas, and in the black headgear is Jorge Linares. So let's look at, and I want you guys to tell me in the comments, what do you make of Emiliano Vargas' sparring here with Jorge Linares? Let's watch. So you see Vargas is a bit of a longer fighter. You see Vargas kind of trying to he's setting something up for him. And then a good jab there off the ropes. Linares throws a nice little shoe shine combination. The left hook's grazing him. Vargas throws the lead right, and then you see how he's able to get his punches off, and then he switches to southpaw. So he has that switch hitting ability, or at least he's working on it here in sparring. Lands a left hand out the southpaw stance, and then throws that sharp jab that pierces the guard of Jorge Linares. And you see that Emiliano Vargas has that ability to get off punches at close range. He understands range, good left hook there, and he's able to show fighters different looks at a very, very quick rate. So yeah, man, Emiliano Vargas. I mean, I know it's only a 45-second sparring clip against an old faded Jorge Linares, but you know what do you guys think? I think the kid's going. He's going places. Just so long as he stays humble and keeps working hard. First time here, I'm liking the vibe. Maybe, obviously. Shout out to you. Welcome to the home of boxing, True School Sports. Good to have you here. Let's see. Did you see Peter Cadrio, German hype heavyweight, get knocked out in the first round? I've never heard of Peter Cadrio, so I can't say I know who he is. But I guess now I'll have to look him up. People are saying all kinds of smack about David Avanesyan like he's the same dude from 4 years ago. Yeah, he's not the same. Listen, he's not the same fighter he was when he fought Lamont Peterson, because everyone's like, yeah, he lost Lamont Peterson, and his best win is an old Shane Mosley, which is not even true. His best win is Josh Kelly. Let's just see how it goes. Because Terrence Crawford ain't exactly Pernell Whitaker in there, and David Avanesyan isn't freaking Paulie Malignaggi. He can punch. So you never know. You never know what can happen in boxing. But he should beat him. I was just about to say, imagine if David pulls it off against listen, man, when Spence and Crawford fight again, I want them both to lose. I'm sick of hearing about them. I'm sick of hearing about purse splits and negotiations and all this bullshit. I would rather than just both get exposed. And I'm telling you right now, if either one of them loses, I'm changing the channel name again. I'm changing the channel name to Crawford exposed by Avanesyan, or Spence exposed by Thurman, or Styontis, or whoever he fights. So, stranger things have happened. Like Michael Manning said, stranger things have happened. But yeah. But it's your boy BT, the untouchable True School Sports Empire. Make sure you guys look this weekend. We're going to have a couple cards going on Saturday night. We're going to have Montana Love. Montana Love is also in action, guys, on the Zone. He's taking on Stevie Spark. And that'll be going on at the same time as Janibek versus Bentley. So I'll be live for those cards as they're both happening. Sunday is Floyd Mayweather versus Deji. And there ain't nothing else to do on Sunday. So I'll probably go ahead and watch that on Sunday. It's a slow week in boxing. And yeah. So make sure you guys tune into those later on in the week. But yeah, that's pretty much the top rank card. There's not really much more to say than, Janibek's in a mismatch, Seniesa's in a bigger mismatch, and Emiliano Vargas is making his pro debut. And then also you got the prospect Charlie Sheehy. He's on the undercard, and that's really all there is to it. So yeah, let me see. Full of Sports, what's good, champ? He says, Bivol. He said Bivol. What did he say? He said Bivol was one-sided boxing school 101. Bivol made Zotto sit down and take a lot of notes. Yes. Oh my God. Bivol absolutely took Zotto to Russian boxing school. He beat the brakes off of him, and I was thoroughly impressed with Bivol and thoroughly disappointed with Zotto. You know. My man David says, the closer the fight with Zoo and Charlo gets, the more I see an upset. Charlo is up and down and has an identity crisis in the way he fights, whether he wants to bomb or be a counterpuncher. Listen, man, I think Tim Zoo is going to be a live body, and if Charlo's not careful, he might find himself on the canvas because like Tim Zoo doesn't care. Like just being around Tim Zoo, watching him train and stuff, he doesn't care about getting knocked out. He wants to fight. He doesn't want to box. He wants to fight. So it's kind of weird that like Charlo fought in March or April, and then we gotta wait all the way to basically like January for him to fight. It's corny. It's really corny what they did with his career this year. Because if he would have fought Tim Zoo this year after just beating Castano to become undisputed, he would have been in the running for fighter of the year with the win. He would have been right. He would have been right there with Bivol and Bam, in my opinion. I'd rather watch Jake Paul than watch Floyd do whatever the hell he's doing. You know, I thought the same thing, but then I actually watched Floyd's last exhibition against the Japanese kickboxer. Man, that shit was awesome. It was better than Golovkin versus Canelo 3. I'm putting a $20 on a parlay for Tommy Fury, Janibek, Sonny Edwards, and Seniesa. Okay. Make it happen, man. Yeah, Sonny Edwards. Good point. Sonny Edwards is fighting this weekend. Sonny Edwards fights Friday against Felix Alvarado. Sonny Edwards, he hasn't been able to secure those big fights to put him over in boxing this year. I hope he goes in there and he does the thing against Alvarado. Alvarado's very tough. He's been champion in a lower weight class, and I believe he might be undefeated, but don't quote me on that. He's a good fighter, though, and Sonny Edwards better be careful. But I think Sonny Edwards should beat him to a points decision because Sonny Edwards, it's hard to hit him. A lot of people criticize Sonny Edwards saying that he's boring and that he's not that good and he can't punch, but the dude is like pound for pound one of the best defensive fighters in boxing today. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I wouldn't be mad if Crawford and Spence lose as well. Something exciting needs to happen in this welterweight division, 100%. Because with the way it's currently constructed, it's not good for boxing. And it's not good for the division. Madrimov should get the winner of the Jermell Charlo Tim Zoo fight. Absolutely, Madrimov deserves a shot at glory. Really good fighter. See, yeah, he should have won the first fight. I actually thought he won the first fight, 116, 112. It's unfortunate. David says, I think Castaños overrated, even though he did beat Lara. He ain't got the pop to justify his come forward style. Well, he beat Charlo the first fight. They just didn't give it to him. You know? But yeah, it's not like the best week in boxing. We got 3 cards on. We got Sonny Edwards versus Felix Alvarado, which is probably out of all the main events and all the fights this week, that's probably the best one, and that'll be on Friday. So if y'all want to see a decent fight, that's an okay fight. Sonny Edwards versus Alvarado, and then like Montana Love versus Stevie Spark. I mean, I'm not too gassed about that because Montana Love is down there at 140. Stevie Spark got sparked out by Tim Zoo at 154. So not really too. Don't think that's a great fight either. So the boxing doesn't really like the highlight for boxing this month, guys. Isn't going to really be until the latter part of the month where we get like on Saturday on the 26th of November we have Pro Gray versus Peta. We got Ryder versus Parker, and we got Dillian White versus Jermaine Franklin, and then the next day we got Adam Mazin versus Ryan Charlton. So we're talking about four solid fight cards in a 2-day span. That's probably the apex of this month. Let me see what else we got. My man said he got out the Madrimov train after the first Michael Soro fight. Okay. You know, it's crazy. I still haven't even watched either of the Michael Soro fights. I hear about them, but I never watched him. That's just a testament to how overrated Charlo is, that he lost to Castaño and went life and death with him in both fights. That, and he got outboxed by Tony Harrison. Tony Harrison, who gets knocked out by everybody. Like, he got knocked out by Jarrett Hurd, Willie Nelson, everybody at top level, you know? Jesus M says, Emiliano Vargas will beat Shakur Stevenson. That would be crazy. Listen, I'm not gonna get too deep into it, but I heard they sparred. I heard they did some sparring out there in Las Vegas. I heard that Shakur Stevenson had some problems on his hands, but that's sparring. Will Arslanbek Makhmudov get tested with this upcoming bout? You know, I'm very excited about that fight because his opponent is somebody that I know very well, Rafael Akabajori from South Florida. 6'8". 14-0, 13 knockouts. Doesn't have a lot of boxing experience. Came to boxing later on in his life. Kind of like a lot of heavyweights. You know, he used to play college basketball. Then actually wound up making the practice squad for the Miami Dolphins years ago, and then he picked up boxing after all that. So Akabajori is very athletic. Akabajori can punch, and we know that Makhmudov, he showed in his last fight some vulnerabilities, and you know, there's definitely some flaws there, and it's heavyweight boxing. There's always a one-punch factor, so I'm obviously going to heavily favor Makhmudov, but don't sleep on the punching power of Akabajori. That dude can crack, and he was one of Alexander Usyk's sparring partners in his last fight for the Joshua rematch. The camp they did for the Joshua rematch, Makhmudov's opponent Akabajori was one of Usyk's sparring partners. So I'll be led to think that he has gotten at least a little bit better from when I last seen him fight in a local club show here in South Florida. Let me see. Yeah, Majmal didn't look good against Soro in the first fight. He looked really good in the second, though, and was about to knock him out early until the clash happened. I gotta watch them. I gotta watch those fights. I never watched them, so I can't really comment much on that. But I know Michael Soro is a solid contender. Makhmudov needed two hands to be better Biev in arm wrestling. Better Biev is scary. Yeah, that better Biev Bivol, that fight, that's the hardest fight in boxing to pick. Because, you know, you pick either way. If you pick better Biev, you're picking against the best defensive fighter and technical fighter in the sport. If you pick against better Biev, you're picking against an elite boxer who has knocked everyone out he's fought in the ring. So, you know, it really is a pick'em fight in the truest sense of the word. And hopefully we get that fight in the summer of next year. Granted that better BF can beat Anthony Yarde and fulfill his mandatory obligations. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah. Virgil versus Boots. If we could ever get to that fight, I would favor Boots. Yeah, he's not a spring chicken. You know, he's got a lot of wear and tear on that body, and I think if that Bivol fight gets made next year, he's retiring. As soon as he gets a chance to fight for Undisputed, he's retiring. I don't think Better Beef is going to stick around much longer after he fights for Undisputed or becomes Undisputed or loses. I just don't see it unless he fights Bivol in a competitive fight and then maybe it wants rematch. But other than that, I don't see Better BF boxing after the year 2023. That's my prediction. My prediction is that win, lose, or draw, Better BF is going to retire in 2023. Caleb Plant is going to have a hard time beating Benavidez, right? Yeah, I mean, I want Caleb to win. I'm favoring him to beat Benavidez. I would like Caleb to win, but I just think his stamina is going to give him some problems down the stretch. The only thing for Caleb, if he can answer this question, if the stamina holds up, then I think he beats Benavidez. I just don't have any faith in his stamina. I don't. I really, really don't. And Benavidez, he's a volume puncher. He's heavy-handed. It's hard. It's hard. It's a hard fight to pick. I'm leaning towards Benavidez, but Caleb Plant has fought at a higher level. He's a very athletic fighter. He's got the footwork and the skills to beat Benavidez. But yeah, it's going to be hard for both of them. No doubt about it. Do you think Zotto would change trainers to push him? Chua is a yes man. I'll tell you this. I mean, I don't know about Chua being a yes man, but Chua definitely didn't have no answers in that corner when like Chua didn't have not. I mean, you're facing a very tall task in Bivol, but I didn't really hear no like good instructions from the corner of Zoro when he was getting outboxed round after round after round. So that might need to be what happens. BT, tell him Plant let that right. Yeah, that right there with Caleb Plant. I know, like in the last fight with Darrell, he got the highlight reel knockout, but I was pissed off before the knockout because I didn't see what I was looking for, which was I wanted to see Caleb Plant show me some semblance of a straight right hand, and I didn't really see much of a straight right hand. Now, if there was ever a fight where Caleb Plant should break out a straight right hand, it should be the Benavidez fight because Benavidez is going to be coming forward in the high guard in a really good, solid straight right hand would be just what the doctor ordered for him. And then, if you could work that straight right hand in off the left hook or the left hook off of a straight right hand, then it'll make Caleb Plant even more dangerous than he already is. And he's a dangerous man. I honestly think Zoro's a better fighter than what he showed, but he was very untested and overrated, though. I don't think he was overrated. How could it be overrated? Nobody overrated Zoro. I think Zoro was properly rated as the third best light heavyweight in the world. He had beaten some solid fighters. No great fighters, but solid fighters. Like your Jesse Harts, your Blazovs, Yunies Gonzalez. These guys aren't bums. He's fighting. These guys aren't like nobody fighting. These are some good fighters he beat. But people don't see it that way. Let me see. Usyk was willing to come down to light heavyweight to fight Canelo. Do you think if he came down to light to fight Bivol, it would be a good fight? Well, it wasn't light heavyweight. It was cruiserweight. He was going to fight Canelo at cruiserweight. I don't think Usyk can make light heavyweight because he's too damn big. But if that fight could ever get made, it would definitely be interesting. I don't see why not. That's what I'm saying. Michael. Like Zurdo beat the guys he needed to beat in the WBA rankings to get the Bivol fight. Otherwise, he wouldn't have got the Bivol fight. Todd Woolley says, I think Caleb Plant's stamina problems are from mental issues. I feel the pressure gets to him. I pick Bivol over Beterbiev. You just hate Caleb Plant, Todd. Just call it out for what it is, Todd. We know you don't like Caleb Plant. We know that you've never had an affinity from you never in your life had an affinity for the wavy white boy from Tennessee. I guess a story of a country boy ain't compelling to a guy like Todd Whitley. Boxing pound for pound Jack says, Beterbiev beats Bivol, then Beterbiev versus Usyk at cruiserweight. Who wins that? Well, that would be something they could rematch from the amateurs. Honestly, if Usyk ever comes down to cruiserweight, that's the only fight he needs to come down for. Anything else is uncivilized. I would say that's tough. I don't know to pick. I'll probably just barely, slightly pick Usyk, but not by a lot. David Esther says, I'm not the biggest Plant fan either. He is an alpha male, hood white guy in every sense of the word. Yeah, Caleb Plant reminds me of a lot of dudes that I grew up with here in South Florida. I know a lot of dudes like Caleb Plant. That's why I like him, because some of my friends who I got along with the most growing up were like Caleb Plant. Hood white dudes. Todd says, you're right. He sucks, and I lived in Nashville for 3 years. Damn. So no love for the hometown kid. That's unfortunate, man. Why? I mean, let me see. Do you think Boo can get up out of Dave Morrell? I think that's the route he's going to need to go. Benavidez and Plant are tied up, so go fight the southpaw super middleweight Cuban Muhammad Ali. Go fight Dan Morrell. I love that fight. Although at this rate, at this moment in time, just based on past actions, I don't think Andre would take that fight. There's not enough money in it. Morrell's not a big name. Morrell has like 8,000 Instagram followers. He's not a big name at all in any sense of the word. So I don't see him taking that fight, period, at all. My man called him riffraff plant. Riffraff. If you see somebody hating, point them out. If you see somebody hating, point them out. Like the other haters go. That's a riffraff song if you don't know. But anyway, we see. We got my man. I don't think he's taking that fight. Why? Doesn't make business sense. Plant has a tragic life story. If he beats David Benavidez, which is unlikely, he could become pay-per-view. Listen, man, I think personally it'd be better for boxing if Caleb Plant beat Benavidez. Benavidez's whole narrative of nobody wants to fight me is getting old. It's getting old. I'm just glad that he's finally fighting a 68-pounder who's good like Caleb Plant. The whole Mexican monster, everyone's afraid to fight David Benavidez narrative is getting ridiculous. The real reason, to be told, the real reason we're even getting that fight in the first place is because David Benavidez don't want to go up to 75 and face Artur Beterbiev because he knows Artur Beterbiev will punch 85 holes through him. So really, if we're getting excited about Plant versus Benavidez, then we should be happy and we should thank Artur Beterbiev because that's why this fight's happening. I honestly think Morrell will be a good fight for Canelo. He's ready for all these dudes, in my opinion. Shield just wants him to get more experience under his belt. Yeah, no, Morrell is definitely a real special talent, and he's getting better and better every fight. And why not? I don't think Canelo will fight him because I remember on New Year's Day of this year when Charles Martin fought Luis Ortiz in Hollywood. I went to that fight. And that was the night that I yelled at Canelo, why you ducking Andre, all that stuff. And I actually saw David Morrell. He was there wearing a Marlins jersey. Shout out to David Morrell. He was rocking the Marlins jersey. And he walked up to Canelo. I don't know what he said, but I saw him walk up to Canelo, and I saw him stand next to Canelo. And, man, I mean, I know Canelo's not a big guy and size will mean everything, but for a guy like Morrell, I mean, Morrell was really, really much bigger than Canelo. And when you factor in, the size he has with the reach, the speed, the footwork, and him being southpaw, it's a dangerous-ass fight for Canelo. Shooting dice with Larry Bird in Barcelona. Yeah, riffraff. David is overrated to me. Keeps his chin up, flat-footed, and has no defense. Listen, and that's why I think it's possible that that Plant can beat him. The real reason I don't like Plant is because he wins a title and then he has 2 nothing title defenses, then sat on his title until Canelo was ready to buy it from him. Yeah, what you mean when he fought Mike Lee and he fought who did he fight? He fought Mike Lee and help me out here. Caleb Truax. There you go. That's what he fought. Mike Lee and Caleb Truax. Yeah, that's fair to say. He waited a long time for that for that Canelo payday, but it worked out. He got it. Mike Lee, Caleb Truax, and Vincent Feigeboots. So three guys, all white guys. Make of that what you will. I agree with this. Bivol and Beterbiev would both fold Benavidez, absolutely, and that's why he ain't at 175. But listen, guys. I think on that note, I'm gonna cut this live short. I gotta get some rest because I'm like super tired. I had a long day today, and I gotta go run tomorrow. I'm going to tomorrow. I'm going to I'm gonna go run on Key Biscayne. For any of you guys that know South Florida, Key Biscayne is like one of the most beautiful places in the world. So I'm gonna go get on my scooter and go drive on up to Key Biscayne and give me a nice little run in tomorrow. So I gotta get some rest. And I made quite a lot of videos today. So there will be a lot of content coming out on the channel. But yeah, man, appreciate all you guys. Let's do a couple more comments and then we'll get out of here. Anyways, Caleb's trainer is better than Benavidez Sr. Did you see him throw Ryo under the bus? No, what did he say about Ryo? Absolutely, Michael. Thank you, man. Appreciate you. Bivol is good, but he ain't folding nothing because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. He's so good at outboxing people. He doesn't have to. You know, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to go for the knockout. Maybe if somebody was good and was dangerous enough, he might have to go for the knockout, but he hasn't had to since Sullivan Barrera. Since Sullivan freaking Barrera, all the way back on HBO, like in 2018. We're going on half a decade without Bivol having to get a knockout. They say he can't punch, but then if he can't punch, why didn't Zotto just run up on him and throw caution to the wind? Because he can punch, you know. Like Michael Manning said, when you clean sweep the cards, there's no need to go for a knockout. None of that stuff. You can just do it how you want to do it. You can just coast and make things very easy on yourself. But what I will say about the trainer matchup between Plant and Benavidez is that, you know, you got Stephen Brendan Edwards who trains Caleb Plant now, and you got Jose Benavidez Sr. Now, Stephen Brendan Edwards, I think, could be a valuable asset here to Caleb Plant because Stephen Brendan Edwards did train Julian Williams when Julian Williams fought Jarrett Hurd, you know, a bigger guy who likes to throw volume punches, who likes to maul his opponents and kind of just barrel down on top of them. And that's kind of what Benavidez is. That's exactly what Benavidez is. So if there was ever a trainer in boxing that could help Plant, who's had success with this kind of a style matchup, it's Breadman. No doubt about it. But yeah, on that note, guys, I'm going to end the live. Make sure you guys stay tuned for the other lives later on in the week. I'm going live for the Janibek fight on Saturday. I might go live for Sonny Edwards versus Felix Alvarado if I can find a stream for it or find a way to watch it. And then I'll also go live for Floyd versus Deji. Honestly, I'll go live for that because there's nothing to do on Sunday. And it's Floyd Mayweather, so why not? So you'll get 3 live fight reactions Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from your boy BT. But on that note, you guys take care. Enjoy the rest of your Monday. Stay tuned for all the content on True School Sports. Definitely tell your friend to tell a friend to subscribe because we're getting closer and closer to that 50,000 mark, which I'm just like eager to hit because it's a big number. It's a really, really big number and a significant number. But anyway, take care. God bless. And like I say in every single one of these videos, you can love me or you can hate me, but I'm just a kid from Dania. So until next time, take care, guys.